and that he is divisive, and that he is a racist.
Do you see that as racist?
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots.
Racist, 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 racist. How many times do you think the mainstream media called Trump a racist? And although Trump, basically all Republicans, all supporters on the right, they even came up with fake names like alt-right and what's that one? QAnon. And I mean, seriously, any scary name that they could come up with. But now they have an official poll to place us all as racist. Isn't that great? Let's look at this. Washington Post, yes. Just how racist is the MAGA movement? This survey measures it. Now, isn't that great? It's scientific. It's scientific that you're a racist. Here we go. It has long been understood, yes, understood, that the MAGA movement is heavily dependent on white grievances and straight up racism. Hence, Donald Trump's refusal to disavow racist groups and his statement that there were very fine people on both sides. Are you kidding me? You still believe that? And anybody out there in my audience who still believes that, yeah, I got a bridge to sell you. Here we go.
The media reported that President Trump described neo-Nazis as very fine people. Only he didn't. In fact, he didn't even hint at it. Just the opposite. He condemned the neo-Nazis in no uncertain terms. So then, who were the fine people he mentioned? The answer? He was referring to another group of Charlottesville demonstrators who came out that weekend. Protesters who wanted the Robert E. Lee statue removed, and protesters who wanted to keep the statue.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
Yeah? You guys still using that old lie? And any of you people who come after me for using a PragerU clip, I searched for an hour to find the full clip. I saw it real time. So I know exactly what he said. I could not find it. I looked on CNN. I looked on Fox News. I couldn't find the full clip anywhere. I wonder why that is. But that's okay, because we can just call you all racist. Doesn't matter how many times Trump says those people over there are bad. I mean, hello, neo-Nazis, hello. He's got a Jewish daughter and son-in-law. I mean, come on, really? Okay, let's continue. Now we have numbers to prove it. The connection between racism and the right-wing movement is apparent now in a new poll from the Public Religion Research Institute. Well, it has religion in there, so it must be on the right, right? Yeah, right. Okay. The survey asked respondents about 11 statements designed to probe views on racism. For example, white Americans today are not responsible for discrimination against Black people in the past. Well, no. Yes, I would say no. White Americans today are not responsible for what white people did in the past. So am I a racist? So I'm a racist because my grandparents came over in the 1920s, 1930s, something like that. So I should be held responsible for what white people did back in the 1800s. And we live in the North, by the way, so we didn't have anything to do with Jim Crow either. So I would agree with that statement. I would say, no, we're not responsible, so I'm a racist. Yes. The pollsters then used their answers. Sorry, my face is freezing. The pollsters then used their answers to quantify a structural racism index, which provides a general score from 0 to 1, measuring a person's attitudes on white supremacy and racial inequity. Higher scores indicate more receptive attitudes to racial beliefs. So we're racist if we have a high score. Americans, the median value on structural racism index is 0.45. So you're right in the middle of being a racist. Didn't you know that? So all Americans are right in the middle of being a racist. That's interesting. Near the center of the scale. The poll found the median score on structural racism index for Republicans is 0.67%. Or no, just 0.67. I don't think it's a percent. Compared with 0.45 for everyone else. So, i.e., you're a Republican, you're racist. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's move on. Give me 1 second to pull up the next. Okay, here we go. So, white evangelical Protestants have the highest median score. So it's just not white, it's those evangelicals that are the most racist. Right. At 0.64, while Latter-day Saints, that's Mormons, and Catholics and white mainline Protestants each have a median of 0.55. Yeah. By contrast, religious, unaffiliated white Americans score 0.33. So the more Christian you are, the more racist you are. Yes. Republicans' overwhelming back efforts to preserve the legacy of the Confederacy, 85%, compared with less than half of the independents, and only 1 in 4 Democrats. Yeah. I'm going to bring in Steven Crowder here to talk about that. He really ripped this piece apart, and he has some really great things to say about Christianity. Let's see what Steven Crowder has to say.
So let me first bring up, this is a structural racism score that they then use to say that you, as a MAGA Republican, are a racist. And by the way, the poll never actually uses the term MAGA. They just define it afterwards. Like, oh, this must be a MAGA person. So Republican really equals MAGA. So they have Republicans, 0.67. Again, on the structural racism score. Independent, 0.45. Democrat, 0.27. And by the way, they have structural racism scores by religious groups. White evangelical Protestants, 0.64. White Latter-day Saints, 0.55. White Catholics, 0.55. White mainline Protestants, 0.55. And here's the thing. They say, Rubin describes these people as the religious groups that make up the core of today's GOP and MAGA movement. So white Protestants, white evangelicals. Include the article Rubin, using this poll, by the way, is polls from this organization, claims that 85% of Republicans want to rewrite history of the Civil War and ignore the evil of slavery.
What?
Yes. In other words, if you say, I'm not responsible for racism of the past, I'm responsible for my actions, she then concludes that you want to rewrite history.
How?
This is the goal. The goal is to fracture you. The goal is to make racism worse today than ever. To create more racial tensions than ever, so that you can be scapegoated, you can be blamed, you can be categorized as an extremist simply for saying, no, I don't think I'm responsible for something that happened hundreds of years ago. Now, apparently, the PRRI director, Robert P. Jones, doesn't have any problem with Rubin's characterization. This is what was said. While this result may seem surprising or even shocking to many white Christians, no, inaccurate. It is because we do not know our own history.
Yes, we do.
If we take a clear-eyed look at our history, we see a widespread, centuries-long Christian defense of white supremacy. Let me ask you something. You're looking at a percentage because a lot of people were Christians. Sure. That doesn't mean that it was a Christian defense of white supremacy, just to be clear. A lot of them were trying to defend slavery in spite of what would be Christian beliefs. How many Hindus abolished slavery because of the tenets of Hinduism? How many Muslims abolished slavery because of, again, the fundamental values of Islam?
Yeah. Pretty good, huh? If you don't know Steven Crowder, he's linked below. He's one of my favorites. He's super, super awesome. So please go support him. He is super, super smart. Yeah. So, let's take an entire political party and a religion and call them racist. Yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Does that sound like a smart plan? No, it's not. You cannot demonize half of a country and say that you're all racist. I hate to tell you, but if you think all whites are racist, then you are the racist. Why? Why are you the racist? Well, because you were attributing traits to a racial group, which is the definition of racism. It's like saying Asian people are smart. You're taking a trope and you are assigning it to one group. That is racist. This is not the first time that the left has done something like this. If you go back to the 20s, to the 1910s, progressivism was all the rage. Yes, we had communism and the communist revolution, and everybody wanted to be a socialist. And then we had this new movement. We had this new movement called fascism. Well, what was fascism? Well, fascism was a bunch of communists who didn't want to salute Mother Russia, because if you were a communist, then Mother Russia was the head, and you had to salute Mother Russia. Well, a couple of countries decided, we love communism. We have everything is great about communism, but we don't want to salute a different country. We're Italian. We want to salute the Italian flag. We're German. We want to salute the German flag. But if I brought up to you the manifesto for the National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, or the Italian Fascist Party, and you saw that and you put it side by side with the Democratic Party of today, you would not know the difference between the two. So after the Holocaust, they had to hide this. They couldn't let everybody know that fascism was on the left. We couldn't let people know that. So what happened? Well, we had the Frankfurt School. And what was the Frankfurt School? Well, it was a bunch of Germans who escaped Germany. I think it was a bunch of Jews who started the Frankfurt School. Don't quote me on that, but I think so, because they were escaping Germany. So I'm pretty sure, but a lot of academics escaped that too. So don't quote me on that. I'm not quite sure. But they needed to rewrite fascism. So fascism would be on the right. So what they did is they did the same thing here. They created a poll, what psychologically you had to be a fascist. And it was stuff like pro-nationalism. Well, there's lots of people who are nationalistic. Gandhi was nationalistic. Churchill was nationalistic. I don't think you'd call him fascist. Well, if you went to college today now, you would call Winston Churchill fascist. But this is what academia of today does. They don't like someone. They don't like what they are. So they're going to come up with a horse pucky poll, and they're going to demonize an entire group of people. I don't think this is smart. I disagree with the people on the left. I think they are not only wrong, I think they believe in a lot of dangerous things. But I don't classify them all. I think a lot of Democrats today, they think the Democratic Party is still FDR, or Bill Clinton. I think most of the Democratic Party today just doesn't pay attention, and they think the Democratic Party today is the Bill Clinton Party. News to Democrats, this is not Bill Clinton's party anymore. So guys, tell me what you think. Please comment below, like, subscribe. I love all the comments below, and I love everybody subscribing. So thank you so much for the support. So I'll see you in the next one.